Have you ever sat down to rest and instead of relaxing, you felt a quiet pressure building in your chest? You finally close your laptop. You tell yourself, I deserve a break. But 5 minutes later, your mind whispers, you could be doing something right now. And suddenly, resting doesn't feel peaceful. It feels irresponsible. If you know that feeling, you're not lazy. You're likely caught in something psychologists often describe as a productivity-linked self-worth loop. Let's unpack it. For some people, rest is restoration. For others, rest feels like falling behind. That difference usually doesn't start in adulthood. It starts much earlier. When you grow up in environments where praise is tied to achievement, good grades, being helpful, being the responsible one, your brain quietly learns a rule. I am valuable when I am useful. That rule doesn't disappear when you grow up. It becomes automatic. So when you stop working, your nervous system doesn't register recovery, it registers loss of value. Research on burnout and chronic stress shows that people who strongly link their identity to performance often struggle to disengage from work. Their stress response doesn't fully power down during downtime. The body stays slightly activated, like an engine idling. That's why rest can feel tense instead of calm. There's also something called cognitive conditioning at play. If productivity has consistently led to rewards, praise, money, security, approval, your brain begins associating activity with safety. Rest, in contrast, can feel uncertain, and uncertainty triggers subtle anxiety. Not because resting is wrong, but because your system equates motion with control. Here's something many people don't openly admit. Some of the most high-achieving, responsible, reliable people feel the most guilt when they pause. Not because they dislike relaxing, but because stillness removes the proof that they matter. And in quiet moments, that can feel uncomfortable. There's another layer. We live in a culture where busyness is often treated as status. I've been so busy has become a badge of importance. So when you're resting, especially while others appear productive, comparison quietly creeps in. Your brain asks, what if they're getting ahead while I'm stopping? That thought activates what researchers call threat perception, even if no real threat exists. So you pick up your phone, you check emails, you open something just for a minute, and the loop continues. Work, relief, guilt, work again. That's the productivity shame loop. But here's the crucial part. Rest is not the opposite of productivity. Neurological research shows that the brain's default mode network, the system active during rest and reflection, plays a role in creativity, memory consolidation, and problem solving. In other words, your brain is not off when you rest, it's reorganizing. Integration requires pauses. Muscles grow during recovery. Memory strengthens during downtime. Focus improves after mental breaks. But if your identity has fused with constant output, rest feels like erasing yourself. And that's where self-compassion becomes important. Not the soft, motivational kind, the cognitive kind. Learning to separate who you are from what you produce. You are not your to-do list. You are not your output. Output fluctuates. Worth does not. If you notice guilt when you rest, try observing the thought instead of obeying it. Instead of, I should be doing something, try, my brain is uncomfortable with stillness right now. That subtle shift interrupts the loop. Over time, your nervous system relearns that pause does not equal danger. And something surprising happens. Rest starts to feel like strength, not weakness. Because the ability to stop, especially in a culture that glorifies constant motion, is a form of control. So let me ask you something. When you rest, What does your inner voice say? Is it kind, or does it demand proof? Drop your experience in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring everyday psychological patterns in simple, grounded ways, consider subscribing. There's more depth ahead. I'll see you in the next one.